down 13/32 in price. That puts the yield up to 7.94%. And finally, depositors of the now defunct Bank of Credit and Commerce International may get some of their money back, but not much. Liquidators say BCCI's majority shareholders, the government of Abu Dhabi, has offered to compensate up to $2.2 billion for all combined claims. However, that's only 30 to 40% of all claims. An attorney for BCCI's liquidator says it's, quote, the best deal we could get. BCCI's worldwide operations were shut down last summer on charges of money laundering and fraud. And that's the latest in business news. We'll have another update in 1 hour. The Dow is down about a fraction right now. I'm Beverly Schuch, the New York Stock Exchange.
Well, Buy American is the battle cry in much of the United States in these times of economic trouble. But cheap labor in some countries often puts the United States at a disadvantage, and this is the case in the tuna canning industry, where U.S. businesses can hardly compete. CNN's Robert Vito reports.
Lucy Garcia has been cleaning and packing tuna on Terminal Island in Los Angeles Harbor for the past 48 years. But now she and her fellow workers are afraid that their cannery is about to close. The reason? Competition from overseas. Mrs. Garcia makes about $11 per hour, while cannery workers in East Asia make anywhere from 35 to 55 cents per hour. Verdi Lacey, who's worked here 33 years, is now 56 years old. She wonders how she will survive.
I don't know what I would do because I'm too old now to try to find another job. I don't know where I can get another job because so many jobs are folding up.
At its peak, the U.S. tuna canning industry was centered here, with 18 canneries employing some 17,000 workers. Now that figure is down to less than 700. Imports of canned tuna, mostly from Thailand, Indonesia, and the Philippines, increased from 10% of the market in 1980 to at least 55% in 1991. U.S. cannery owners say the tariff against overseas tuna is not high enough.
We're being flooded by cheap imported product with no support from the government in order to keep it out.
To stop the flood of imported tuna, Dolan has called on Vice President Quayle and other government officials to increase U.S. import tariffs on tuna. But U.S. officials remain reluctant to tamper with tariffs, concerned that helping one industry could force it to raise tariffs on other goods. One after the other, U.S. tuna canneries folded or were sold to firms overseas. Starkist moved its tuna processing plants to Puerto Rico and American Samoa. In the continental United States, Pan Pacific Fisheries is the only U.S.-owned and operated plant that remains open. Union officials worry they may be running out of time to save Pan Pacific.
Well, the war has gone badly for us because nobody has listened to us.
Meanwhile, Lucy Garcia, Verdi Lacey, and a lot of their fellow workers seem convinced no one ever will. Robert Vito, CNN on Terminal Island.
The election season has sparked some viewer letters from all over the political spectrum. Doug Menzies of Reading, Pennsylvania, supports Democrat Paul Tsongas. Quote, for the first time in many years, I believe we have in Tsongas a candidate willing to give us a prescription, honest enough to turn our problems around, rather than a bedside manner. Rita Chinelli of Pembroke Pines, Florida, favors a familiar Republican. President Bush has been a great president, and if he has the chance to put his programs into action, I am sure that he will bring us out of this recession. John Paris of Los Angeles writes, Jerry Brown is the only candidate who speaks to the political gridlock which is truly choking our nation, and he is the only candidate who rejects accepting contributions from the moneyed elite. And James LaBarre of New York State wants an alternative to the top two parties. Voters of this country are fed up with the way both the Democrats and Republicans have been handling our government. And this could be your chance to provide a service and show the American people that there are more options open to them. The major reason these third-party campaigns do not do well is that they do not get coverage because they do not do well. It is a never-ending cycle. If you'd like to write CNN NewsHour, here's the address. P.O. Box 740-166, Atlanta, Georgia, 303-074-0166. Or fax us at 404-681-3578.
And just ahead on NewsHour, we'll get the latest on the weather of the day and the weekend. And in sports with Tom Stiner, an update on Olympic hockey and its upset city in the Grand Canyon State.
Have you ever felt alone in this world of moral chaos? If so, we'd like to share a free video cassette that supports your beliefs in strong moral values. It's called Our Heavenly Father's Plan, and it's a gift from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints without obligation when you call toll-free 1-800-736-9789.
You're not alone, even though right now you're on your own.
The inspiring music and messages on this 30-minute videotape can bring a greater sense of purpose to your life. You'll understand more than ever why you're here on Earth and what comes after this life.
You are loved in ways that can't be shown. Your needs are known. You're not alone.
By calling this toll-free number and receiving your free videotape, you'll learn that you're not alone in your values of honesty and personal morality. They're part of our Heavenly Father's plan for personal peace and happiness. So please, phone now for your free copy of Our Heavenly Father's Plan. Phone 1-800-736-9789. 1-800-736-9789.
You're not alone.
In a recent Times Mirror poll, Americans were asked which TV network was doing the best job of covering the news. More than twice as many people chose one network over all others, CNN, now more than ever the world's news leader.
I'm Dr. Sonia Friedman. Now, often Nora Hayden says that there's no reason a man can't satisfy a woman sexually every time, if he wants to. So, gals, call the guy in your life and tell him to tune in unless he's already the perfect lover and you'd like to share his secrets with us later on Sonia Live. Now let's go to Reid Collins in Washington.
All right, let's quickly go now to the weekend weather and the ski conditions, too. Flip Spiceland's in Atlanta. Flip.
Thanks, Reid. We're still looking at the northwest where it's very, very windy. I just had our producers check here, and still wind speeds of over 30 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour, not uncommon being reported at the moment. And, of course, those are reporting stations in some isolated instances. Earlier today, we've seen wind speeds of 75, 80, even 90 miles an hour. The northwest has been lashed with strong and gusty winds this entire week. It remains that way. Although this weather system coming in is a quite vigorous one, once they move on shore, they tend to weaken and weaken very, very quickly, but still the wind seems to hang on. Rainfall associated with this will be limited only to Northern California. Southern California, once again, will not see rainfall out of this weather system. And, of course, there will be rain and snow at the higher elevations throughout much of Washington and Oregon. Sierra Nevada ought to be adding a lot of new good snow for the skiers. In the middle of the country, you have this area of cloudiness here associated with this low pressure center and this invasion of some cold air from the north. Yet it's not doing much at all other than producing some light snow in the upper Midwest and northern plain states. Unlike yesterday when the snowfall in the upper Midwest, we reported on it all day long, was quite heavy. Ended up with more than I thought they would get in central Minnesota, some places as much as 9 inches. All this cloudiness in the southeast, not doing much at all, but this is still a developing weather system, and over the weekend, rainfall will spread across the southeast. A little bit of light snow in the northeast as the latest Alberta Clipper moves on through. Look at the CNN color radar summary, and there you can see the scattered rainfall and snowfall in the northeast. Here's the rain down here along the Gulf Coast associated with that area of cloudiness, the light snow in the upper Midwest and northern plain states, and the big weather system rolling into the northwest with lots of rain and snow at higher elevations. Here you can see the rainfall down as far south as the Bay Area and the Sacramento Valley. Look now at our forecast weather map then for later in the day. Light snow continues in the upper Midwest, but some rainfall there too. Here's the scattered shower activity along the Gulf Coast as that weather system continues to develop. The Clipper moves offshore, taking the snowfall with it, clearing skies for the northeast. In the northwest, the big storm rolls in with lots of snow at the higher elevations. Look at our forecast weather map then for tomorrow morning, and you see that weather system continuing to move on in, but as it does so, it will weaken, but still be strong enough to be producing those very, very strong winds with snow at the higher elevations. In the southeast, here you can see that developing storm getting developed. The rainfall down here will emanate from the Gulf up through Texas, lower Mississippi Valley, and then during the day Saturday, drift on to the east. Here's the light snow that today is in the plain states, moving on over into the Great Lakes area by tomorrow morning. Right now, take a look at the CNN Ski Report. Now back to Bobbie, who's joined by Tom Stiner. Tom, you got a hockey score for us.
Yeah, it's a battle brewing here on the ice.
Got a good one in Maribel, and the U.S. Trying to keep its miraculous run alive, and we're down to the Final Four, the semifinals today, and despite being the only undefeated team in the Olympic hockey tournament, the U.S. squad is actually considered the underdog in today's confrontation against players